We have a round of 16 matchup confirmed already. 2 giants fall, as does a favorite dark horse. Guys, welcome to day 18 of the World Cup Daily Recap. Do me a favor. If you're one of the people who watches without subscribing, don't be shy. Join me for the rest of the journey and subscribe. First up on Monday, Brazil took on Japan, easily one of the most anticipated round of 13 matchups. A big name in Brazil that isn't quite playing to their big name. And then Japan, a country growing into quite the football nation, but needing to navigate this tournament without 2 big names, Minamino and Mitoma, then losing Kubo during the tournament as well. Pretty rough. But that aside, they've still played brilliantly at times. One of the teams in this tournament that, through their patterns of play, can resemble a club team. There are automations, you see them pull off. I think I saw them attempt that same sort of passing play they used to score on Sweden. Ball pass centrally, give and go, try the diagonal through ball. Try as they might though, they were constantly on the back foot in this one. At first I thought it was by design from Moriyasu, and it may have been at one point, but Brazil were incredibly dominant. After the first half, you could look at it as Japan wanting to soak up pressure after taking the lead from a Sano thunderbolt out of nowhere, a bit against the run of play. They'd been defending a lot, allowing Brazil to have the ball, but defending well in the first half without abandoning the attack completely. Come the second half, Brazil began dominating even more than before, which didn't quite seem possible. Japan had iced out Vinny in the first half, but in the second, he started to come alive. The ball was worked down his side more often instead of Rayan's. Ancelotti not only allowed Endrick on the pitch, but allowed him to share that same side of the pitch with Rayan. But of course, it was Vinny who looked the more dangerous winger, and I swear he nearly scored a goal of the tournament, a potential Puskás winner. The way he poked the ball through a defender's legs with his first touch, ran down the pitch, beat a few more, then poked it to the far post, only for Suzuki to get enough of it to push it into the post instead of the goal. Suzuki was fantastic, by the way. What a keeper he's become. Sure hands, great reflex saves, controls the box well. Very impressive in this tournament. It was complete domination, and an incredibly familiar goal that we saw from Brazil. Well, from Casemiro in particular. Whipped ball to the back post, powered header. How many times did we see him and Bruno link up like that this past season for Manchester United? And Casemiro needed that. He was made to look very old and slow on Japan's goal. Sano just skipping away from him like he wasn't even there. So that was big for Casemiro and Brazil because they were finally doing something with their possession. Brazil kept pushing, and it felt like it would go to extra time. It seemed like that's what Japan was playing for, with how incredibly negative and stuck in their shell they were. I mean, I sound like I'm ragging on them, but the second half was worse than the first, which was very defensive to begin with, and barely saw them leave their own half. In the second half, 30% possession, a single shot, just one. A routine save for Alisson, just one attempt. 0.04 expected goals in that second half, while Brazil's was 1.7. But just when you thought extra time, Gabriel Martinelli found himself with far too much room between the Japanese defenders in the box and made no mistake. Brazil 2-1 to Japan. What? Brazil 2-1. Brazil winning 2-1 in the 95th minute. That's what I'm trying to say. And that was it. Brazil through, Japan out. And look, this isn't the Brazil of old. There's no jogo bonito, or at least not much of it, besides a few players. But they were the deserving team, and they can still make a good run in this tournament. Japan, they'll be incredibly disappointed with how injuries kind of derailed their tournament a little bit, but you have to look past that at some point and look at how poor they were in this game. This was the most dominant Brazil performance by far in this tournament. And it came against a lot of people's dark horse. Moriyasu caught heat for his approach in losing to Croatia in 2022. Surely he'll catch heat for this approach as well. So Brazil move on and await the winner of Norway versus Ivory Coast. That match is today. So Paraguay went from a team to watch out for with how they defend, then got smoked by the United States in their first game, then found their identity again in that group, and now they're through to the round of 16 at Germany's expense. Germany, my expectations was an unconvincing victory over Paraguay, but it turns out defensive-minded South American teams are their kryptonite, and also they are their own kryptonite. You guys may be tired of this by now, or maybe you're agreeing now, but Germany haven't been good in this tournament at all. Yes, they beat Curaçao 7-1, a team making their debut, the smallest nation in World Cup history, but they were lucky to beat Ivory Coast. Big thanks to Adingra of Ivory Coast for messing that up. And then they lost to Ecuador. And that stinky, directionless play continued against Paraguay. When your attack lacks organization and is rudderless, and you come up against a team that is incredibly well organized defensively, you're going to struggle. This is what happens. The times Paraguay got forward were few and far between in this match, though they opened with 2 attempts in the first 2 minutes, one blocked, the other saved by Neuer and cleared. But when I gave Japan a hard time for playing in their defensive shell, at least Paraguay were up against a team that didn't have a clue what to do with the possession, luckily for them. Undav got the start, but struggled to make an impression, subbed after an hour for Musiala, who did look much better. Germany had 79% possession in the first half, 79, and didn't register a single shot on target. In the second half, they improved and dominated the ball just as much, but still couldn't score. Orlando Gil was looking good, 6 saves in open play in this match, not including the shootout is what I'm saying. And speaking of which, the longer it went on, the more Paraguay seemed to be playing for the shootout, never committing too many men forward so they wouldn't leave themselves exposed, hoping to win some set pieces, but in extra time, they didn't have a single attempt. No shots on target, no attempts, none. Germany thought they'd found a winner when Top powered a header in at the back post. That's the meta in this tournament, I guess, headers at the back post, but Anton had interfered with Hill, the keeper, which FIFA said they wouldn't allow, so it was cancelled. Anton would actually get a chance to win it himself, but his header from a corner was too weak and Gil had no issue collecting it. So a shootout, and I gotta say, the Germans looked like they were already thinking about the headlines that could be written about them if they were to go out at this stage against Paraguay, a team you'd expect them to be able to take care of. They did not seem fired up at all. They looked nervous or emotionless, not a hint of Thomas Müller-esque life in any of them. But despite going down, they pulled themselves back in the shootout. Paraguay actually had 2 chances to end it and send them home, but blew one wide and Neuer saved the other, only for Ta to hit his over the bar and hand the reins back to Paraguay, and they won it. What a sport. Nagelsmann has to be questioned here as Germany bow out. Like I've said a few times, I know, shut up, Adrian. They haven't looked convincing here. They didn't look convincing in qualifying. And perhaps the worst indictment of all, they lost to Portugal recently. They're never supposed to lose to Portugal. I'm kidding, but huge congratulations to Paraguay. What a massive win, eliminating Germany via shootout for the first time ever. Germany had never lost a World Cup shootout before. The first big upset of the tournament. A few more to come, I'm sure. And so Paraguay will play the winner of France versus Sweden. Again, we find out today who that will be. Man, you've got to hand it to the Mexico locals at this match. Ballon d'Or winning generational haters. Incredible pettiness. They whistled the Netherlands every time they had the ball, all because of that infamous moment that birthed No Era Penal from the 2014 World Cup when Robin dove to win a penalty. But anyway, another matchup people were looking at with hungry eyes, and rightfully so, I should say. Slow starting Netherlands have looked solid lately, and Morocco have been strong throughout this tournament, with a few players born in the Netherlands and Belgium opting to represent Morocco, so that's kind of fun. Unahi, bit of a nasty one when he clattered into Van Hecke. He wasn't even looking at the ball, jumped and turned his ass toward him, and his elbow went straight into the guy's face. I mean, he's a lucky boy to not even get a yellow. Morocco should have had a few, but the card only came out when Issa Diop did a Messi-style stomp on the back of Brobby's calf in the second half. Pretty even first half, honestly. Morocco with the more dangerous opportunities. If I was to make up a statistic or analytic, it would be expected danger or menace. Who knows, maybe that does exist. I'm not a tactico, but Morocco's attack looked more menacing. Verbruggen had to make 2 smart saves on El Ainaoui from close range, a header from the near post, and then on Hakimi, a powerful strike from the edge of the box. In the second half, he'd hit the crossbar and later test Verbruggen directly from a corner. Hakimi was a menace. The Netherlands didn't have a shot on target in that first half. Gakpo in particular was very quiet in the first half, and that's completely understandable, right? He and his partner announced that their unborn son had passed during pregnancy as the World Cup was going on. And so when the Netherlands had a rapid-fire counterattack in the second half, with Crescencio Somerville squaring to Gakpo from the ground for Gakpo to smash past Bono, then his emotion made a lot of sense. I can't imagine, man. These players have me crying. First, Eustachio talking about his parents 2 days ago, then Gakpo with that beautiful moment. I mean, you'd understand if he didn't even want to play in this tournament anymore, but he wanted to continue. But yeah, that was basically how the Netherlands were operating, allowing Morocco more of the ball and trying to counter through Somerville and his pace. He often played higher up the pitch than a Brobby or later a Weghorst, who would often just flick the ball onto him to run onto. In the latter stages, Morocco labored to generate some chances. Despite having the run of play under control, a lot of those attacking difficulties go down to the Netherlands' back line, Van Dijk in particular, performing pretty well in this game. Until the 90th minute, when Issa Diop roved forward from the back line, went untracked, and headed past Verbruggen for 1-1 in second half stoppage time. But speaking of defenders playing well, Mazraoui, what a performance. The recovery runs he had to make, the last-ditch tackles, he was fantastic against the Netherlands and in this tournament in general. He was born in the Netherlands. In extra time, Morocco created a potential match-winning chance with Rahimi carving out space for himself with just Verbruggen to beat, and Verbruggen made a huge save. But other than that, the second half of extra time was dry. Nobody registered a single attempt. So for the second time this day, a shootout. Koopmeiners with a great start for the Netherlands. El Ainaoui tries to blast it. He hits the bar. That's a bad start. Verbruggen almost made things worse for Morocco. He had Rahimi's attempt saved, but it went under him, off his heel and in. Freak penalty. I've never seen that happen before. But it was a bit of a disaster shootout for everybody. Kluivert hit the post. Hakimi hit the post. Timber pulled it wide. Somerville had his attempt saved. And Saibari won it for Morocco. So the Netherlands are out. Both Germany and the Netherlands eliminated on the same day as Paraguay and Morocco move on. Morocco are a big problem for anyone who has to face them. They were heading home late in that match, and the Netherlands were through right until that point that the Diop header went in, and then Morocco controlled extra time easily. Netherlands barely touched the ball in extra time, it felt like, so Morocco will play Canada and Houston, a rematch from 2022. And guys, that'll do it. That's it from me for this one, but you know I'll be back tomorrow with another. Check out the daily preview over on the 90th minute, and I'll see you soon. Take care.